State, you have 26 minutes remaining.
Okay, please the court. Counsel, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Talk to you guys in opening statement about my opinion on how punishment is assessed. We talked about 3 factors, right? We talked about looking at the specific nature of the crime. We talked about looking at the defendant. We talked about looking at the victim. So let's talk about this crime. Let's start right there. Injury to a child causing serious bodily injury. You got injuries. That's 5-year cases. 15, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, life. Injury to a child causing serious bodily injury. Serious bodily injury, as Ms. Thomas said, could be a concussion, it could be a broken bone, it could be a scar. What do we have here? We have the most serious bodily injury, which is death. So to act like this case on its face doesn't start at the maximum, that is the insult. Sharon died at his hands. He then chose to cover up his crime and lie about it. And there are factors that are mitigating, that bring the sentence down, and there are factors that aggravate crimes. Covering up a crime is not mitigating, it's aggravating. That's what he did. Now, defense counsel, I guess we're the bad guys now, right? We're the bad guys. We forced you guys to look at these photos. We forced you to do all these things. We are the bad guys. Us. And I had it written down that I owed you guys an explanation about the photographs, because let me tell you, we spent a lot of time talking about those photographs. I don't want to look at those photographs. I know that you 14, I knew it. I knew you didn't want to look at it. Who wants to look at those photographs? I'm not showing it to anybody out here. I'm not showing it to anybody in the office. Those are the worst photographs I've ever seen in my 11 years as a prosecutor.
Objection, Your Honor, as to counsel testifying as to his personal experience, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Your Honor,
You've
I'd ask
already
for...
been instructed.
You guys can conjure up whatever you want and think if you can find worse photographs than those. But we're the bad guys here. We're the bad guys. What he did resulted in those photographs. And you know what? At the end of the day, I made that decision. That's on me. If I made the wrong decision, then I apologize for that. I showed you guys those photographs because that's what he did. That was the reality. Those grotesque, horrible photographs, the things that he did to that little girl. I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if I didn't show you guys those photographs. That's why we did it. I'm not doing it to bully you. I'm not doing it because I like doing it. I did it because I made the decision that that was the right thing to do. They want to talk about this crime, they keep calling it a mistake, and all of a sudden, when I call out Mr. Mathews saying that it's not a mistake, now it's a horrible decision. Are you kidding me? A horrible decision? It's a cover-up. This crime, in all the injuries to children, causing serious bodily injury, it is at the maximum. Now, I don't ever want to see one worse than this. Let's talk about the defendant. Let's talk about the defendant, and let's talk about the defendant on his best day. At his best, from his own words. He watched his daughter die did not go and tell his wife, who's a nurse, to help. Did not call 911. Took her lifeless little body, stuffed it in a trash bag. Took her little body, wrapped in a trash bag, put it in the back of his SUV with other trash, made a trash run to dump the other stuff, all while his daughter, the love of his life, is laying in a trash bag dead. Takes her to a culvert, takes her out of the trash bag, crawls into a disgusting culvert, pushes her body into that culvert until it can't go any further. He then leaves the culvert, goes back home, doesn't tell anybody about what happened. Instead, decides to wash his clothes. He then decides to wait another 3 hours and still doesn't call 911. He Googles the Richardson Police Department and calls the number as if he's asking for a job application. Then police officers show up and he lies to them, and he keeps lying, and he keeps lying, and he lies to how many people that spent countless hours and the sacrifices that they made over those 15 days, all while he knew what had happened. And then he gets up here and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry," he's got tears coming out from Richardson. That doesn't mean anything. That's his best. That is his best. That's him, the great guy over there. Great guys and great dads, they don't stick their daughters in trash bags and dump them in sewage drains. He's not a good guy. He's not like us. Those texts, they are important because that shows you who refers to their child as having defects. Somebody who treats them like trash. It's real easy to put on a happy face and sing your songs on your videos and all that stuff to the outside world. That's real easy. A lot of people can do that. I don't know many people, I sure hope there aren't many people who can do what he did by his own words. And that's his best. That's his best. And if you use your reason and your common sense, you think something accidental or tragic versus a killing. Accidental, do you do all those things to cover up an accident? Or do you try to fix your mistake? Do you try to get help and do something then at some point? Which one is it? You cover up for a crime. That's what you do. He is a liar. This whole thing was about anger and frustration over milk, because he had to be in control. Yes, she needed to drink milk. That's because somehow she was doing fine for the first couple months. And then, mysteriously, things start going south, and it starts with that broken arm. And then over the course of those 5 months, you've got 5 broken bones, she's not gaining weight, she's got feeding issues. What is going on? Under his care. He's the dad. And he acts like he doesn't even know what's going on up here. But I couldn't get a straight answer out of him to save my life. He wouldn't even say that trash bag was used for trash. It's just blue, he got blue bags just lying around his house. He had to show Sharon who was in charge. Drink your milk, Sharon. You're going to do what I say, Because I'm the adult here, and you're just the girl, the little girl. You're just trash. You're going to do what I say. And if you don't do it, you know the rest. You don't have any criminal history. I told you guys that. I said I wasn't going to bring anybody down here that was going to say that you've used anybody. That's not a surprise. You don't need criminal history to be at the max. His actions, his true character, he's up here. He's the worst of the worst. What he did to Sharon. And then let's talk about Sharon. Let's talk about this little girl. This little girl who is now States 1 and States 2. A sweet, adorable little girl who made it to the age of 3. She died looking into the eyes of the protector. Wesley Mathews, the protector. She died looking into her father's eyes. Not a dad. Father in name only. That was her life. It ended, we assume, in their garage. We don't know. We're never going to know. Her life is gone at the age of 3. And, you know, one of the things that always bothers me is when you see potential in somebody and they don't reach that potential, unfulfilled potential, right? Because you see it. You see somebody, whether it's an attorney or a doctor or a nurse or a teacher or a child or whatever. You see that potential and you see what they can do. And it's such a tragedy when that potential isn't fulfilled. Sometimes it's because people just don't work at it. You know, some people just don't have the work ethic. Sometimes factors play in that just knock people off the course where they're going to be. Sharon had tremendous potential, and you know that because of this, the progress that she made in just a few months. You know the potential she had, but that potential was extinguished by him. And so now we're all at a loss because we don't know what she could have accomplished. We have no idea the lives she could have touched. We don't know the diseases she could have cured. We don't know. He took that from all of us. The protector. Her life, her innocence, it's, again, there's nobody who's going to be more innocent than this little girl. There just isn't. She did nothing wrong. Nothing. She survived atrocious conditions in India. She gets over here, she survives broken bones and doctor's appointments and infections and ailments. And she can't survive a couple hours at the garage with Wesley Mathews. That's amazing. It's amazing what she fought through, and she couldn't get past him. So I ask you all this. I ask you 14 to serve as her true protector. I ask that you show the love and the care that he claims he has. And I ask you to sentence Wesley Mathews to the rest of his life in prison.